I'm George Hotz, and I'm about to be the next billion-dollar CEO. I don't know what else you want.
George Hotz came onto the scene as a 17-year-old hacking phenomenon. He was the first person to break open the iPhone and the first person to hack Sony's PlayStation. He spent a few years working odd jobs around Silicon Valley and competing in security competitions. Now, after 2 years in virtual hiding, he's come out to show the world what might be his greatest invention yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome George. Tell us a little bit about the jailbreak on the iPhone, why you did it.
All right, so look, a lot of people might say stuff like, I wanted to free people of Apple's bonds. That's a lofty way to describe things that media people like. It's not true. My girlfriend broke up with me. You know, we were going away to college, and I'm like, what am I going to do this summer? And, well, I hacked the iPhone, right? It's true. Whenever you hear lofty motivations, don't believe them.
Well, what about the PlayStation? That was a little bit more controversial for you.
Well, if you read my New Yorker article, you know that I was on drugs and not really sure what I was doing with my life, so why not hack the PlayStation?
The unhackable PlayStation, or so they thought.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Someone says something's unhackable, I take it as a challenge, right? You always got to surprise people.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. The auto industry is being reimagined, and you're at the forefront of it.
What we're building is level 3 automation. Level 3 automation, 99% of the time, you have to do absolutely nothing except watch the car drive. And level 4 automation is, of course, when cars can drive with no people in them at all.
There's going to be times when our product won't be capable of driving, but we want to make sure that it's 100% accurate at identifying those times that it's incapable of driving. So if it doesn't make, it should never make an actual mistake. It should never be confident and then mess up. It should be like, hey, I don't know what's going on here. You got to grab the wheel. You got to help me out.
So when will that level 4 be attained?
I don't know. No idea.
Is it attainable?
Of course.
So last week, a competitor was acquired by GM for $1 billion.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that?
I'll say it set the baseline price for our acquisition. There's a stealth startup at Stanford. I'm outing you guys. They're called Drive.ai. I hear you raised at about a $50 million valuation. I met the guy. Wouldn't even tell me the name of his company. Seriously, wouldn't tell me Drive.ai. I'm going to figure out they're doing cars. You know, I couldn't tell this from the paper you published 2 years ago. So there's them. Their competition, I guess. The guy was very interested in how I got the steering wheel to actually turn. Right? And he's like, did you put a motor on it? And I'm like, yeah, there's a motor on it.
So one of the things that you've innovated with is you're using AI to power your driverless technology rather than rules-based coding.
How do you teach a car to drive? Some people might think that what you do is you give it all these rules about driving. You tell it all these, if there's a car a little bit over there, you should give it a little bit of space. And, if there's and there's all these very rigid rules, like you should stay in the exact center of the lane. But this isn't how humans drive. This might be how humans think they drive, but it isn't how they actually drive. So how do humans learn to drive? Well, they watch other people drive.
So there's a famous problem in computer vision, which is given a picture, how do you tell if this picture has a chair in it or not? And any 3-year-old can do this. Is there a chair? And they can say yes or no, right? So the old school computer vision way to do this was you train a model for a leg, and you train a model for the base and a model for the back, and it'd be like, oh, well, it's not going to detect a table as a chair because it doesn't have a back. But then you show it a bar stool, and it also doesn't detect that as a chair. So the question is kind of, what is the definition of the word chair? And it turns out that definition is not a few words. It's an incredibly complex thing that's built up over time and is learned from thousands and millions of exposures to chairs in our lives. In order to drive, you need to do it the same way. Driving is not some simply definable, this is what the driving task is, but it's something that requires thousands and millions hours of experience in order to fully understand.
And that's exactly what we're doing here. So right now we're just in the watching phase. We have not told this car anything about driving. We've shown it 10 hours of human driving footage and we're like, here is what the human did. Behave like that human as much as you can, right? And you get all this intuition that you'd never get in a rule-based system.
Which is harder to build, rules-based or AI?
There's some things that are difficult about each one. They present unique challenges. AI is a lot harder to debug. A rules-based system, if something didn't work, you can point to the exact rule why it didn't work. But this isn't how humans work, right? If you're a human, oh, you crossed that double yellow line. Why? The human might not even know, but it might not have been the wrong decision, right? If there was a kid in the road up there, right? You'd be quite happy the human crossed the double yellow line. So it's harder to debug an AI.
Why do you think Mobileye and Tesla and Elon Musk have gone down the rules-based method?
Well, for different reasons. Mobileye is a 90s era company. They don't think about things in the the way of the future. You can watch the CTO give a presentation at CES this year, and they don't get it.
I was reading a lot of press quotes, and it's amazing that Elon Musk, this big guy, Tesla, SpaceX, is so focused on you and on Comma AI. Musk says in a tone you might hear from a parent or older sibling. He says, George says he did this with 2,000 lines of code. Okay, listen, buddy. 2,000 lines of code does not cover the 8 billion corner cases of Earth. The world is a complicated and messy place. 2,000 lines of code ain't gonna cover it.
Well, right there, okay, so right there Elon showed that he doesn't exactly understand what these AI systems are. It's not about having lots of lines of code. We trained on 100 hours of driving data, right? And that 100 hours of driving data is condensed down to a model. Our current model is 4 megabytes. So it's 2,000 lines of code and then a 4 megabyte opaque block, which in some ways is code as well. To fully solve driving is in some ways to solve human intelligence. In order to be able to, so what you want to do to really drive safely is predict what every driver around you is going to do, but a lot of those cars are operated by humans. Predicting is the same thing as, in some ways, being. If you could predict where Garry Kasparov would move in chess, you could be just as good of a chess player as him. So it's certainly not even close to done. It's going to be a long journey forward, but like I've said before, the mission at Comma AI is to replace everyone's jobs. Right, and we start with transportation because it's the largest employment sector. But yeah, go down the list.
So if you are successful at eliminating all those jobs in the transportation sector, what happens to those people?
That's a political problem. I'm a technical guy.
That's a political problem?
Yeah. It's a social problem. I don't know anything about that.
You should.
Well, I mean...
No, you should. It's not a debate. You should.
I build technology. Whether technology is a good thing or not, it's somewhat inevitable. Was the loom a bad thing? Was the Industrial Revolution a bad thing? Maybe.
Standard VC question about scale, but GM buys Cruise. They have lots of trust.
Yeah.
Elon has Tesla, lots of trust. You're clearly beautiful mind, amazing space.
Cruise has lots of trust.
Well,
they hit a Prius.
GM does.
Oh, yeah.
So, they, $10, $50 million cars a year. So how do you build distribution? If distribution is actually on trust, how do you build that?
There it is. Come on. Stop, slow down, don't hit me. Good car.
So our systems, by the way, are never going to override the human driver. You are capable at all times of grabbing the wheel, hitting the brakes, hitting the gas, and the car will respond and our system will disengage right away. We're not trying to override people. So the way we get people to trust us is slowly. Put the system in your car. Turn it on for a minute. Hey, that was pretty good. Turn it on for 2 minutes. Turn it on for 4, and then eventually we'll build up trust. But there's no other way to do it.
It's not like, look, consumers today, I don't think are looking for the guy who's been on the block 15 years. Why did everyone flock to Uber so quickly, right? Who's using the cabs? I think it's a question, and I've always believed that if you build a great product, people will buy it. Marketing is for people who don't have a great product. If we have a great product and people know about it, they'll buy it, right? I mean, people don't know about it, that's a different thing, but press is easy, right? You get press, you have a great product. People will buy it, and like I say, with trust, I mean, put it in your car. It's not taking the steering wheel away from you. At any time, you could reach out, you could take control back of that car if you don't like what it's doing, right? This thing is your assistant. It's not Google who takes the steering wheel out of the car. You build up trust slowly, but it's a low trust investment to say, You can hold on to the steering wheel while it's driving if you really want. Reinventing the wheel. I'm not big on like cloud apps and those kind of things. I think that was kind of the unicorns of yesterday. The new Silicon Valley is drones, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, cool stuff.
Thank you so much. Join me in welcoming George, and thank you.